Hey, our first reflection is on about a little something about poetry. Like many of us, I started off disliking poetry when I was in school in the 1950s. I recall having to figure out rhythm patterns and meter. Also, students like myself had to find the one true meaning of the poem. The academic approach was disheartening. There was no joy in that. I started to like poetry in college, where I majored in English. The poetry was more interesting, and there was a little more openness in the interpretation of poems. Later, I learned that the language of poetry, like the language of art or music, is not usually about the kind of understanding we have been taught. As I moved into graduate school, still majoring in English, I began to fall in love with poetry. I recall reading the 17th century poet Andrew Marvell and actually having an out of the body experience. There were no drugs involved. I was up in a tree, looking down at myself at the base of the tree, enjoying the poem and nature. For the past 35 years or so, I have written poems when I have felt inspired to do so, and my poems are integrated with my journal entries. One of my saddest poems was about my youngest daughter's severe eating disorder. Anyone can create a poem with a writing implement or by word of mouth. Many of us, like myself, enjoy writing free verse. Recently, I wrote this free verse poem after returning from visiting my son Christopher in Pennsylvania, and I call it The Gap. Massive gray rocks sloping downward to the slate gray flowing Delaware River, trees raising their black limbs to the darkening gray sky. A January day concluding. Prayer time. Thank you. The poet Jenny Factor writes, poetry, more than any other medium, changes language, growing and redirecting the stream of what it is possible to say. I love the way that poets create new words, new language. The created word thinginess can refer to brand names, details, a painted cat ornament, and an endless array of more. A poem can encourage readerly adoration. A poem can enter our bloodstream like a verbal tattoo. Poetry makes sense of things that are incomprehensible, or it makes perfect no sense of them. For many, poetry is a saving grace. Mary Oliver encourages relying on feelings to appreciate a poem. The French philosopher Gaston Bachelard writes that poetry comes before thought. Rather than being a phenomenology of the mind, poetry is a phenomenology of the soul. The theologian Thomas More says that the soul prefers to imagine rather than to engage in intellectual exercise. When you take a poem into your life, the poem has the potential to change your life, and through your spoken words, the lives of those around you. And I'll close my brief reflection with two poems by Emily Dickinson. The first is a love poem about a book. There is no frigate like a book to take us lands away, nor any coursers like a page of prancing poetry. This traverse may the poorest take without the oppress of toll. How frugal is the chariot that bears the human soul. And the second poem, also by Emily Dickinson, wild nights, were I with thee, wild nights should be our luxury. Futile the winds to a heart in port. Done with the compass, done with the chart. Rowing in Eden, the soul. Might I but more tonight in thee. And now Debbie will share a reflection about love.
I don't know about your wild nights, but mine are about watching TV. So as wild as my nights get. So we decided to do love poetry today because this week was Valentine's Day, and love can be categorized in many ways. And I actually prefer Susan's categorization and definition better to the ones that I'm gonna go over with you. That was really beautiful, Susan. So the first, I'm going to uh, uh, categorize love in four ways, and to be brief, and these are in named in Greek. Now, I was thinking this morning, I don't know why they're named in Greek, and then I thought, well, maybe because love is so difficult, like Greek. So the first one is eros, or erotic, passionate love. Well, let's get this out of the way first. Eros is erotic or sexual or passionate love. It's often all about need and more about the person who's feeling sexually attracted than it is about the person who they're attracted to. And it's addicting. It can cause great joy and great sorrow. The strength of our love also leads to the strength of our pain. And as in Mary Oliver's short poem, and this is in the hymnal, to live in this world, you must be able to do three things: to love what is mortal, to hold it against your bones, knowing your own life depends on it. And when the time comes to let it go, to let it go. I just got chills again as I read that. So if you've ever lost a great love, if you've never had one, if you don't have one now, if you don't want one, Valentine's Day is not our holiday. But celebrating Valentine's Day because of one of these other definitions I'm going to read might make it your holiday. So we have eros, and then the next one is philia, love of friends and equals. And it can be the love between lovers when they've been together for a long time, and they're not so hot and bothered anymore. It's also called brotherly love, as in the city of Philadelphia. Of course, it can also be sisterly love. And it is the accepting love of good friendship. This is the love that's good for your health. The third kind of love is storge. That's the love of parents for their children. This kind of love is what mothers know best. It's the love of parents for children. It's described as the most natural of loves. Natural in that it's present without corrosion. It's emoted because we can't help ourselves. And it pays the least attention as to whether the person is worthy of love. Agape, love of mankind. And I'm going to add, and womankind, that's for Arlene, and all living creatures. When I was living in Manhattan, there were a lot of roaches in my apartment, and I just could not kill them. So I had two methods of getting rid of them. The first one, which didn't work very well, was I would run after them with a hairspray can and spray them with the hairspray. Well, it didn't work that well because they didn't die. It didn't stop them, but all my roaches had really nice hairdos. And the other method, which also was not very successful, was I collected egg cartons and I would catch the roaches in the egg cartons, open the window, throw them out the window. Well, that wasn't too successful either because they would climb right back up into my apartment after crawling out of the egg cartons. But I digress. So, agape, love of mankind and womankind, and all living creatures. The love modeled on the love of the Christian God for men and women, and the love of men and women for God. It's the love that's given whether or not it's returned. It's the love without any self benefit. In the Buddhist tradition, it's the central foundation of loving kindness of all mankind. And I'd like to read from Marianne Williamson's book, A Return to Love. She's a devotee of the Course in Miracles. And you may remember she also ran for president in 2020. Love is what we were born with. It isn't seen with the physical eyes or heard with physical ears. The physical senses can't perceive it. It's perceived through another kind of vision. Metaphysicians call it the third eye. Esoteric Christians call it the vision of the Holy Spirit, and others call it the higher self. Regardless of what it's called, love requires a different kind of seeing than we're used to, a different kind of knowing or thinking. It's a world beyond that we all secretly long for. An ancient memory of this love haunts all of us all the time and beckons us to return. Love isn't material, it's energy. It's the feeling in a room, a situation, a person. It has nothing at all to do with the physical world, but it can be expressed nonetheless. We experience it as kindness, giving, mercy, compassion, peace, joy, acceptance, non judgment, joining, and intimacy. Ms. Williams says that meaning doesn't lie in things, meaning lies in us. When we attach value to things that aren't love, the money, the car, the house, the prestige, we're loving things that can't love us back. We're searching for meaning in the meaningless. Money of itself means nothing. Material things of themselves mean nothing. It's not that they're bad, it's that they're nothing. We came here to co-create with God by extending love. Life spent with any other purpose in mind is meaningless, contrary to our nature, and ultimately painful. It's as though we've been lost in a dark parallel universe where things are loved more than people. We overvalue what we perceive with our physical senses and undervalue what we know to be true in our hearts.
Yeah. Thank you, Debbie, for a very, thoughtful, inspiring, and funny, the road story, very funny, reflection.
True story.
Yeah, I believe you. Okay, so we're now going to have poetry readings by congregants. And people who have contacted us will read first and then others. So in the lineup, there's Donna Bono, Rhonda, Al, Mickey, Leslie, and then others who have a poem. So we'll start with Donna.
I have two short poems. The first one is A Lifelong Sharing by Mother Teresa. Love cannot remain by itself. It has no meaning. Love has to be put into action, and that action is service. Whatever form we are, able or disabled, rich or poor, it is not how much we do, but how much love we put in the doing, a lifelong sharing of love with others. And the second one is Love is Not Concerned by Alice Walker. Love is not concerned with whom you pray or where you slept the night you ran away from home. Love is concerned that the beating of your heart should kill no one.
Thank you, Donna. Thank you very much. Okay, Rhonda.
Hi.
Hi.
Just a tiny backstory on my poem. In 1956, when I was 12 years old, I joined this religious organization for young girls called the Order of the Rainbow for Girls.
Mm.
And when I became worthy advisor at the age of, I think, 16, we had to choose a theme, and my theme was nature. And the poem set to music was trees. And I love this poem. Okay. I am changing God to goddess because I want to. I think that I shall never see a poem lovely as a tree whose hungry mouth is pressed against the earth's sweet flowing breast, a tree that looks to God all day and lifts her leafy arms to pray. A tree that may in summer wear a nest of robins in her hair, upon whose bosom snow has lain, who intimately lives with rain. Poems are made by fools like me, but only goddess can make a tree. Thank you.
Thank you, Rhonda, for that version of Joyce Kilmer's wonderful poem.
And I just have to say, I think, Debbie, you should join Mickey in doing stand-up comedy.
Okay, so our next reader is Al.
Al, you're muted. You need to unmute.
Al, are you trying to unmute?
Al called me this morning and said he might not be able to read the poem, but he wanted to do an introduction. And if he couldn't read the poem, he asked me to read it. But he wanted to do an
Yes. Am I
introduction. Here
unmuted?
you are.
Oh,
Good.
Al.
Am I
Hi, Al.
unmuted?
Hi, Al.
Hi, Al.
Hey, am I unmuted? I'm muted now.
Yes,
Yes,
you're
yes, you're
unmuted,
good.
Al.
Yes, yes.
Not unmuted.
Yes, we
Can
can
you
hear
hear
you. Yes, we can hear you,
Sorry.
Al.
Oh, okay, sorry for the trouble. There are many aspects to love, and the poem that I'd like to offer is by W.H. Auden, called Funeral Blues, that Auden wrote upon grieving for the loss of his beloved partner. It was also featured in a movie called Four Weddings and a Funeral, I don't know how many have seen
Yeah.
that movie,
Yes.
where the character in the movie, during the funeral of his beloved partner, read this poem.
Mm.
But now, since my eyes are having trouble, I'm asking Debbie to read the poem for me. She can do generally, anyhow, a much better uh, reading than I could. Debbie, thank you so much for helping me.
You're very welcome, Al, and that's not true. You're quite capable of reading and very well. This poem, I'll share this poem with me, and it really describes how we feel with the loss of a love. So, Funeral Blues by W.H. Auden. Stop all the clocks, cut off the telephone, prevent the dog from barking with a juicy bone, silence the pianos, and with muffled drum, bring out the coffin, let the mourners come. Let airplanes circle moaning overhead, scribbling on the sky the message, he is dead. Put crepe bows around the white necks of the public doves. Let the traffic policemen wear black cotton gloves. He was my north, my south, my east and west, my working week and my Sunday rest, my noon, my midnight, my talk, my song. I thought that love would last forever. I was wrong. The stars are not wanted now. Put out every one. Hack up the moon and dismantle the sun. Pour away the ocean and sweep up the wood. For nothing now can ever come to any good.
Thank you, Debbie, for that reading. And Al, thank you for your introduction to W.H. Auden's very moving poem. Okay. So now we will have Mickey read. Mickey? Mickey? Are you there, Mickey?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay.
Do you hear me now?
We hear
Yes.
you.
All right. You can't see me because I have no idea where the camera is. And,
Okay. Okay.
And this, I don't know why on Sunday mornings, but anyhow, I have here a short poem by May Storsky, and I feel it fits with what's going on with me now. It's called Silence. Silence never is. There are always voices, idle chatter, sweet musings, sad goodbyes, memory sound of water splashing, sun-washed sails bravely flapping. Silence never is. I love to hear it shouting. What I feel right now is my life is too much silence right now. And I'm not, we don't get together at the senior center or things like that. And the companionship of people now I find very difficult. And the silence is murder. I don't know how you feel about it, but I feel something really should be done about it. So that's my feeling. I did write something, but if I could read it and it makes sense, you let me know. I am 88, almost 89. What have I done in all that time? At an early age, I learned to love to play ball. I was told by everyone that was not for a girl. Girls do not run and jump and slide into bases. You need to be pretty and have pretty faces. I didn't care what people called me. The word tomboy was the word they used. It did bother me sometimes, and I felt abused. Where is, yeah, and I'm all confused. Does that rhyme? Yes, it does. But the condition I'm in, playing and teaching tennis for over 45 years, hitting softballs and running bases over 50 years. If you love what you did, you could enjoy and watch your granddaughter play sports while everyone cheers her on, including the ladies. You could wear your warm-up suit and sneakers with pride in late 80s. That's it.
Thank you, Mickey. Thank you for what you wrote. And thank you so much for sharing a poem by May Storsky. Thank you.
Yeah, I always feel we should read one of her poems, because being in her class to me was such a great honor because of her writings. Thank you, Al.
Thank you, Mickey. Okay, Leslie, you're next. Leslie McFadden.
I'm yes, hello everybody. It's very nice to be here today. Hi. I'm reading a poem that I wrote, and I wrote it quite a few years ago. And I didn't really know we were supposed to make something on love, but the name of this poem is called Addressed to My Black Brothers and Sisters. But I guess I could say a love letter to my Black brothers and sisters.
Yes.
You might look at my skin and think that I don't care. I can surely feel it strongly in your cold, stern stare. And so what if I'm offended? But you know, I'll take my blame, a small, minuscule offering for generations of your pain. I wish that I could tell you of the sadness that I feel inside, but I dare not speak a word. I'll let my actions override. I hope that every tear I shed will help to heal the pain of mothers, fathers, sons, and daughters, and for those who are in their graves.
Thank you, Leslie. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Okay, so now we'll hear from others who would like to read. So please put your hands up so we can see. Okay, Cassandra. Who else? Okay, Cassandra.
Okay. Last year during the COVID crisis, I did this painting, and as I was creating this painting, these words came. So some people have heard this before, so bear with me. And the name of it, the painting, and this reading is called Say Their Names. Those who have lost their lives to COVID, say their names. Can you hear it? Those who lost their lives due to racism here in America. Say their names. All of those who have chosen professions which allows them to give selflessly to others. Say their names. All of those young people who lost their lives fighting for their country without understanding why. Say their names for all of those who can now love whom they choose to love. Say their names for all of those who are determined to be whom they are destined to be. Say their names, all of the Black and brown people who weren't allowed to enter the country by those who have come before them. Say their names, all of those children who may never see their parents again after crossing the US border. Say their names, all of those who, because of COVID, lost their jobs and now maybe soon their homes. Say their names, all of those who survived COVID, but their lives will never be the same. Say their names.
Thank you, Cassandra.
Thank you.
It's good to hear that again. And you wrote that, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Cass-
Wonderful.
Cassandra, you don't have a picture of the painting, do you?
I could get it, I think.
All
If
right.
I share my screen,
Yeah, can she, John?
I'll turn on that capability.
I mean,
So
it was such a fabulous painting.
let me see if I can get it. Okay.
hold on 1 second here. I should have that enabled for you. Okay, you should be able to share your screen.
Just have to find out where it is.
You have it on the ad that you just sent.
You know, I don't know how to do this. I thought I could just go to files or something. I don't think I'm going to be able to do this because I really don't know how to do it.
Mm.
I thought I could it would just let me go into documents on Microsoft, but it's not doing that. It's showing all this other stuff I never saw before. So I'm going to have to pass, I guess.
Mm.
Okay, Cassandra. Well, thank you for trying. Maybe
Yeah,
another
sorry
time-
about that.
Maybe another time you could show
Yeah.
it. It'd be really,
Yeah.
really nice to see. Yeah.
Yeah.
Would anyone else like to read? Well, I have one other poem.
Sometimes you were up and sometimes you were down. Sometimes the name of it is tumbleweed. Tumbleweed here, tumbleweed there, tumbleweed, tumbleweed everywhere. No one here, no one there, no one anywhere. What to do? Where to go? What's the use? What's the point? Who asked for this? Around and around, up and down, here and there, alone, afraid, poor, hungry, no plan, no direction, no help, no sense. Adrift in a senseless sea, looking for guidance, looking for help. Is there a life preserver? Is there justice, compassion, love? Will tomorrow be the past? Over and over. How to overcome, how to change, how to grow. Can the future be different from the past? Is it possible? Who to listen to, what to believe, how to act, what is important, how to make a difference for others. Listening, observing, reading, thinking, looking for the good. Changes are happening. Attitude, persistence, gratitude. Love and gratitude are extremely important in this world. Never giving up, always looking for the good. Thank you.
Thank you, Brandy. Thank you. Very, very wonderful. Thank you. Anyone else? Okay, I have one more poem before we end this segment of our service. And this is titled In the Rain by E.E. Cummings. In the rain, darkness, the sunset being sheathed, I sit and think of you, the holy city where is your face, your little cheeks, the streets of smiles, your eyes, half thrush, half angel, and your drowsy lips where float flowers of kiss, and there is the sweet, shy pirouette, your hair, and then your dance song, soul, rarely beloved. A single star is uttered, and I think of you. That's an E.E. Cummings poem.
If you like this video, please like us on YouTube, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and click on the bell to be notified whenever we post a new video. Thank you.